How's it going, faithful? Good morning, everybody. How we all doing today? You know, it's the 49ers morning pregame show. Doesn't matter who we're playing. I'm going to be on. Doesn't matter losing, winning. I am here, okay? I am faithful. There's, we're not in the coaching staff, front office. We're not on the team. There's nothing us fans can do to help the team out but root for them, okay? That's what we can do. We get the Niner Empire does not have to be set on fire every week. It's like stuff happens. And calling guys like Bosa overrated. Yeah, that I've seen a lot of people doing that. And is he really? Because he's in the backfield. Because he's not producing doesn't mean he isn't affecting the game, right? Overpaid? I might have to agree with that. But I don't think he's overrated. No. Bryant, how you doing this morning, buddy? Oh, Bryant?
I'm doing okay. It seems like my internet's really bad. You might have to drop me out and bring me back in. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really think I can't say that we're overrated, or Bosa's overrated, or from the start, he came in. He's got a football family, Olympic mother. His dad played football. When you got two parents that are athletes, you got a pretty good chance that you're going to be an athlete. I have that mentality. People don't like his political views. You can't really, if you want to get mad at somebody, then yeah, ask them about their political views or their religious beliefs, right? So before we drafted Bosa, or during the time we were talking about, potentially picking him up, people are Bay Area, California is a blue state. So I know it's not a politics show, but it does have to play in with people's vibes about Bosa. So because, he's coming from maybe a Republican or a conservative stand and he comes to a more of a liberal state, yeah, he hit the wall pretty good. And then it seems like every time there's been something that they could make up or, get a story out. A couple of years ago when we went to the championship game, no, not championship game, it was divisional round, I believe. Was it the championship game? It was the snow game where Robbie Gould kicked the field goal and, Hufunga blocked the kick. I believe it was that game. He got caught peeing outside by the bleachers. He's covered up. He's in wherever he's at. But somebody with a camera, zoomed in on him and tried to, make a big deal about him, whizzing outside. And then because Green Bay is such a small little area, they got like a school right close to where they're practicing at. That's not a good thing at all. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. And sometimes you gotta look around and make sure that no one can see you. So yeah, Bosa's been controversial for a while because they like to make up stories about him. And then his injuries, David, really, have we had anybody on the other side of Bosa to take any pressure off of Bosa?
I really don't feel like we have. We signed Leonard Floyd. I was hoping he'd be the guy. He's been a 9-10 sack guy every season. David, he actually plays the run a little better than people give him credit for. But all these people say, "Where are you at?" Like, what are you expecting out of the guy? That's what I'm wondering. Like if you're one of those "Where's Lloyd at" guys, tell me what exactly you're expecting out of him. 20 sacks, 30 sacks. He's good for 9 or 10 sacks a season, which is better than what we've had opposite of Bosa since around the D Ford era. But D Ford that guy, he couldn't stay healthy. And he had a history of not staying healthy before we traded a second-round pick for him and then signed him to a big contract.
There we go.
You good? But that same offseason that we acquired D Ford, the Packers signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, both the contracts that weren't as big as D Ford, and these are both good, productive defensive ends. The defense, has to account for them. They're, they get sacks every year. They get pressures. They play the run very well, and that very same offseason, we could have just went out in free agency and said, sure, we'll snag on that Preston Smith or Zadarius Smith guy instead of trading for D Ford. But we wanted to give up a second round pick and pay the guy more than they got.
I just think we haven't really had anybody on the side of Bosa to help take off any pressure. So when the guy does get hurt in the middle of the season, we expect him to be Superman or inhuman, right? And it just doesn't happen. Injuries happen. And this is the kind of the point that I've been saying with you for a while now is if somebody gets hurt, this team's been screaming that we have the best players, the best, starters and second string. So if there's a drop off from our second string, from our first to our second string, and it's that significant, maybe we shouldn't have such highly sought after players that are like the cream of the crop, right? Maybe we should get a little bit lower guys and then maybe spend some money and get some second stringers that are at least adequate to them or, comparable. Because if you have a really good player and the next guy is really good, but he's not half as good, why are these other teams not seeming to have these problems? We don't have a backup tight end. We have 3 other guys on the team that are tight ends, but they can't play like Kittle. They can't play nearly as well as Kittle. Last year we had 2 tight ends, but one couldn't block and one couldn't catch. So I just don't see the logic of us boasting around and pumping up our chest and saying we got the best roster. If somebody gets hurt, it seems like our whole season's over. And now we're at the point where, we have our Mr. Irrelevant quarterback who's hurt, and nobody expected Mr. Irrelevant to be the starter or be where he is right now. And now he's hurt, and 49er land is looking at our season being over. Our season might have been over beginning of the season when we had the big holdouts. And that's kind of, I think, the underlying real issue of this team is the holdouts. I think a lot of people got mad because we weren't able to sign Armstead. And then, some people decided to hold out because they wanted to get paid. And they figured, well, this is my last chance. You cannot keep asking players to restructure their contracts. Sooner or later, you have to win a chip or you got to let people go.
And that is so true. It's not even funny, So the chat, we got Steve-O. We're at +6 now, folks. So the Packers are favored by 6 points, and they took us off the board to make the playoffs and put Seattle on. Okay. These same guys must be drinking some of that off-brand tequila because they we favor over Seattle and Rams for the division. So that off-brand tequila does bad things to you.
Don't drink the worm or eat it or chew it. Anything. Don't get a bottle with the worm.
We got Mrs. Well, the Mrs. We got Tony Culp in the chat. She says, "Let's go, Brandon." She means Alan.
No, sure she does.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Really, Spongy, that's not going to happen, bro. Now you're too young to be drinking that off-brand tequila, so don't even think about it.
Do not swallow the mouthwash. Spit the mouthwash out.
Don't swallow the mouthwash, Spongy. So, morning, John Jay. What's up, buddy? And, you never know what's going to happen in an NFL game, right? You never know. That's the whole point. That's why we play the games.
We
just went through the season and said, "Oh, these guys are the Super Bowl freaking favorites. They're going to win it." Okay, then why even play the season? Just hand them a trophy. Yeah. This is why we play the season. This is why we play games, right? What's up, Papa J? Good to see you, buddy. You got Bebop in the chat. What's happening, man?
Hey, Bebop.
Bebop in the Pennsylvania area there. Oh, boy. There's Terradome. What's up, man?
Hey, Terradome.
Morning. So, we're in Green Bay. It's actually not going to be as cold as I thought. It's going to be, I think the forecast, Steve-O, you said the forecast last, it was like 45 degrees or something. And I mean, it's, that's good weather for a game. Our backup quarterback is going to be in.
The weather
He's not very mobile.
I know every season's a little different because you get a couple different players, but we didn't seem to be affected when we had Kaepernick. He went to Carolina. He went to Green Bay. In the snow. That wasn't a big deal. Then you go and Brock Purdy's played in the cold. We played in the Eagle Stadium. We wore the black uniform, the black outfits. Everybody knows what happened in that game. We virtually ended Philadelphia's season that game. So I don't think the cold's an issue. I know we are in Santa Clara now, and this game's going to be in Green Bay, but we are the San Francisco 49ers. And one thing that's cool to say is Mark Twain, the famous author, he once wrote or said that the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. So if you've ever been to San Francisco, you better bring a jacket because you never know when it's going to start breezing and winding and stuff. So, I definitely don't think the weather's going to be a factor for the Niners.
Yeah, I really don't think so. I think missing Bosa and Purdy is going to be a big factor. Trent Williams, bro, you might as well just sit out this game. I don't think you playing improves our chances of winning at this point. Just sit out. Rest that ankle that's been injured since 2021. Don't forget to hold out this offseason for more money. Oh, did I say that? That's something I wasn't a fan of, folks. Big Trent, you're not getting younger. You want an extension, you're not getting younger. You're going to retire. You're going to hurt the team at some point.
But we love you. We want you to win a Super Bowl for us. Let's pay you a bunch of money and then complain when you're gone. But no, you can't complain about Trent Williams and his contract after he retires because we won a Super Bowl and that guy's great. And it just put us into the dog years again, like the bad years because we have all this money on the cap that we can't get off. Who is the guy that we just recently, are we still paying for him? Is it Ford? D Ford?
No, we stopped paying for him. I don't remember if it was at the end of last season. I think it was. I think he came off the books this last off season.
So we got room to put somebody else on the books then. That's what you're saying, huh?
Oh my goodness. And I mean, just the fact that he's had an ankle problem since 2021. I was like, when I saw him holding out, I was like, man, are you serious? Like, bro, you're not going to last longer than 3 more years, are you? Like,
Steve-O down here at the bottom. Now we're paying Lance. So exactly, it's like you just paid off your debt. You got rid of your credit card bills. Let's swipe that baby again. Let's do it.
Baby. It's the American way. You go into debt and you pay it off later, right?
Right.
Oh man. Oh, Crazy Juice is in the chat.
Hey, Crazy Juice.
This is kind of funny. Damn these NFL script writers. I know, right?
Shout out Tom Grossi.
And this is, I mean, at this point, what have you got to lose? We're not mathematically out of it. So, Kyle's going to try to do everything he can to win the next couple games to keep us mathematically in it. But the second we're mathematically out of it, does he keep playing these? Does he keep the rookies on the bench or does he just say, screw it, I'm putting these guys in?
Well,
we haven't been in this territory really. I mean, 2020, right? But we haven't really spent much time in this territory with Mr. Shanahan there. So
any game, there's a chance that any player can get injured, right? Any player. It doesn't matter how much you're paid. Your contract states that you're going to get paid. So if I'm paying a quarterback or if I'm paying somebody a lot of money to play, I'm expecting the fans to come there and want to see that player. So if he's not hurt, I expect the starters to be going the rest of the year. Just because you're not going to make the playoffs doesn't mean you guys should shut down. At this point, we're not going to get a decent draft pick anyways. And if we do, we're not going to know what to do with it. We've proven that time and time again. So if they do get mathematically eliminated, I expect Jed to push this team to win as many games as possible with the amount of money that he's spending for this roster. I don't think we have the most expensive roster, but I think we're pretty close to the top, David.
I don't. Now we somehow, restructured and kicked the can down the road. Which we're going. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Peter's going to get pissed one of these days. Okay, and we're going to have to pay Peter. That's just how it works. But at this point, we have like $50 million, and it'll carry over into next year. So it'll give us a chance to absorb guys like, Debo, if he all of a sudden just keeps going downhill and is far from the player he used to be. We might, honestly, I think we keep him next year because of the lack of Brandon Ayuk for at least half the season.
Yeah, I don't see Brandon Ayuk coming back next season, at least not until the middle of the season. And then at that point,
yeah, you notice I say at least. Yeah. I'm honestly not counting on him playing until 2026.
And that kind of feels to me like it's really weird because we had him for an extra year, and then we go and sign him, and then he doesn't do anything during the season. He starts to come on at the end right when he gets injured. That's very shout out to the script writers. Thank you again. And then with Debo, same thing. Like last year, he got paid, and then we were looking for him. He kind of never really showed up. He wasn't really the same Debo, but he still produced somewhat. And now this year, it's like, where are you at? Now the guy who's your shadow, Brandon Ayuk, who's looming over you, trying to take your position. He's not showing up, and you're clearly not showing up. So, David, how significant was the injury, the shooting of Ricky Pearsall? How dramatic was that, or significant was it to the team? Do you think it really held us back? Because I look at it like they were going to start him, and they were going to let Ayuk walk, and something shifted. Ayuk decided to come, and with him getting shot, that really hurt Purcell's chances of even getting on the field. But I don't see them throwing the ball to him. I really don't see them doing anything. So I'm not sure what the Niners are trying to do right now, because trying to force feed some of these players like Debo, who's just not getting it done, or trying to force feed other players like CMC, who's clearly injured still. It doesn't seem to me like the Niners are locked in.
That's exactly it, And Terror Dome, he brings up another point. Special teams, don't kill us. So special teams, you got one job. Don't kill us. Right? One job. But at the same time, our special teams isn't going to change dramatically until this offseason, because a lot of those guys are on one-year deals. We have, the guys that are on rookie contracts and Odin, those guys are going to be around next year. But a lot of the players that are on special teams, we're going to be able to swap out for maybe guys that can act, that are better tacklers, that are more sure tacklers, right?
Well, I'd like to see what happens next year with special teams, because the way that the special teams are run this year, it's a little bit off for everybody, I think. But it isn't fun to say that, our special teams over the last couple of years has really been bad. It's been the worst part of the team. And this goes back before Kyle Shanahan took over this team. So they definitely need to do something. Just because you go and sign a big kicker, because we had Dave Akers, we've had Robbie Gould, we've had Joe Medney, we've had some good kickers, but we don't seem to have something else on the other side. And then, we have had some solid punters. We've had Andy Lee and Bradley Pinion, and those guys were solid punters. But something just wasn't right. And I know you got to fill players into the special teams somehow, right? But when people are saying, we don't have a return guy, well, don't get mad when they send Debo back there. Maybe he'll actually do something this game. We had who did we have? We had Brandon Lloyd. I think he Didn't he return kicks sometimes? And then who was that other one? Ted Ginn Jr. He was the other one who would return kicks.
Yeah. Then Richie James was the last guy to return one for a touchdown. That was 2018, folks.
Yeah. Ted Ginn was the punt, and I think Richie James was a touchdown. Those two were the last guys besides Hufunga, because Hufunga's was a blocked kick, if I remember correctly. So that's not the same. It's just not.
But well, what do you think of our current situation? QB wise. I mean, Bebop's saying Josh Jacobs out. That's like one of their best players on offense.
Oh, he's a running back for the Packers.
Yes.
He came from the Raiders, I think, if I'm correct. Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. So if he's out, definitely check your fantasy lineups, everybody. I think I have him on the bench, so I'm okay. But
check the private chat real quick.
All right.
But and that's interesting because he is their best offensive weapon. So him being out, I don't know. I mean, him out, their best corner out. We're missing Bosa and Purdy. It doesn't. I don't think that offsets. I don't think that quite offsets yet.
How do you feel about our quarterback situation? Do you think Brandon Allen or Joshua Dobbs should be the guy going forward?
Well, I honestly, at this point, with how our offensive line got their asses kicked by Seattle's defensive line that hasn't been top of the league, last week. So it's like now we have a guy that's kind of a pocket statue in there versus a guy that can squirt out when he's in danger. So I would honestly rather have Josh Dobbs starting just for the reasons of, I don't want to see Brendan Allen get killed, figuratively speaking,
So because Allen came from the Bengals, and the Bengals are primarily set up for a passing offense, would you say Brandon Allen maybe throws the ball faster than Brock Purdy? You think he can get the ball out of his hands faster?
I think that depends on the plays Kyle dials up. If he dials up a bunch of quick slants, then we could be in business.
I think so. And that's where I'm hoping they're going to.
Why the hell don't I have him? Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. Why don't I have him on my.
I kind of feel like that's what they're looking for is Allen to get the ball out of his hands fast. And he does throw fast, and he does throw pretty straight and accurate. So I'm looking at that. Maybe if he starts to flounder, we'll see Joshua Dobbs in the next game or something like that. But I don't see them putting him in until Allen's hurt because he's a veteran. He's a lot older than Dobbs. Dobbs does have that, like swirl, looseness, and stuff like that. But if you're only going to be able to pick up 3 yards and the other guy can throw, 15 yards all, consistently, I think we're going to keep Allen in there. And I think Kittle's playing this game too. So I'd like to see the Kittle in the middle connection happen a lot this game.
That's the Kittle in the middle is going to be a lifesaver for him.
So Robert Saleh has now went to the Green Bay Packers. Do you know what position he took? Is he their defensive coach?
No. He's an advisor to the offense.
Whoa.
Robert Saleh knows offense?
Maybe he knows our offense. Maybe that was a move maybe they made just for this game.
Well, let's be honest, though. It's been how many years since Saleh has been with us? When did he leave us? What was that? Was it 2020? Because we had D'Amico Ryans in 2021 and 2022, right? So it was the offseason of 2020 is when he left us for the Jets. So he hasn't been with us for 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th season. The team isn't the same team. A lot of players are, though, like Debo, Kittle, those guys are the same. But the rest of the team, like offensively, he doesn't know squat about the rest of our players here. You know, he hasn't been there with them during practices. He knows two guys on our offense. He knows what Bosa and Fred Warner on our defense. Has anyone else, like Greenlaw, but he's not playing. But has anyone else been with us that long? No.
So when Salo left us and we had D'Amico take over, did our defense change in your opinion?
Did they? I think when D'Amico Ryans took over, our defense did change just a little bit. It seemed like we're a little more aggressive on third downs. Started playing a little more man, a little less zone. Because he played a lot of zone. And then now I honestly believe with our corners, we're better equipped to go man than we are zone, but they still drop back in zone coverage and leave those spots for guys to get catches.
So basically, when Sala is there, we were a little bit more conservative, but we had a good defense. D'Amico steps up and makes the guys blitz a little bit more, and then he leaves and gets his job. And now we're standing here with the vacancy, and we don't know what we're going to do. We bring in, the next man up, right? Well, we didn't because we went and got Steve Wilkes because nobody seemed to want to have the defensive coaching job in San Francisco. Is that right? It didn't make any sense to me. We had to settle on Steve Wilkes unless we waited so long. And that could have been the issue too, because D'Amico, he was getting his job and we were looking to see what candidates would, but it doesn't seem like maybe some of the candidates that was, looking for a job was vibing with Shanahan. David, why wouldn't you, just schematically, looking at a paper, why wouldn't you bring in a player like Tom Brady? Or why wouldn't you bring in a player?
My goodness.
Right? But we're talking about coaches. So if you have the ability to bring in somebody like Bill Belichick, why wouldn't you do it? Why would you really care what the head coach says when, this guy could probably teach the head coach some stuff? Does it go back to that Super Bowl loss where he beat him and he doesn't want to do anything with him? I mean, it's just some stuff you gotta let some things go, and you gotta take charge. And sometimes when you got a friend or somebody that you work with and they're really bothered by something, you gotta tell them to stop hurting themselves. And at this point, like Kyle, you're like punching yourself in the face by not accepting help from other players or other coaches. So
we had Steve-O, but then he's got that he's somewhere in Nevada, folks. So he's got that Raider Wi-Fi.
We'll have to ask him, is it Nevada or Nevada?
Ooh, it might be Nevada.
I'd still call it Nevada.
It might depend on where you live and what your accent is, though.
That's right.
So, Tony, this is an excellent question. I know he's going to play. I know he's good. Well, be on the field.
Does that count?
That's what I know. That's all I know. Steve-O, what's happening, buddy? Ooh, look at that beard. You're muted, I think.
Yeah, muted.
He's got yeah, you are. You're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. It will not let me.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
That's November, It's getting cold out here.
Yeah, you got the winter, weather protecting your face there. That's what the beard's about, right?
So the first question, right? Is it Nevada or Nevada?
Nevada. That's so annoying too, man. It's like, especially when you're on a campaign run, it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, that's like pronouncing people's name wrong, but you're high on this draft pick. Yeah, it wasn't my Wi-Fi. I was trying to connect my thing to the chat so I could see the chat, and I pushed the wrong button.
We forgive you. So, your thoughts? Green Bay, are they mighty? Are they beatable? What do you think? How did the Niners go in there and play this game today against the Packers, the mighty Packers, right?
Well, last week they, because I had them in my Survivor League, and that's a lot of money riding on there, and they had to throw a 60-yard bomb to Watson, and then they had to get a blocked field goal that apparently was illegal. But I was happy for it because I'm still in my league. So, I mean, they barely won the Bears, who just switched their offensive coordinator. I get it's the division game, all that stuff. But They barely won that, and they had no business losing that game. Jordan Love's played 8 games and has 11 picks, so that's a good contract he signed. And that's my second team, so I follow them pretty closely. But
is that a Ricky Pearsall jersey or a Sam Darnold? I gotta ask.
Oh, you know who it is. I won this from East Coast Red and Gold.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So apparently Jason's never seen you on with us. I mean, it's been quite some time, but apparently Jason's never seen you on with us.
I've probably been on with them on the Friday nights, but I probably had my camera off. Check out that Super Bowl was it took me a couple months, and I'm not gonna lie, everybody dual stream. I was always hitting the likes, and then when that Brandon Ayuk finally signed, I got lazy on the likes. I might even not hit one like. I just still, even now, I'm like kind of like, why am I doing this? But as far as the
trade him.
I was at that point, but as far as the Super Bowls go, like I gotta take some accountability because the first one we lost, I was at Wingstop. We got this. And then we started losing. I'm like, oh, do I go to a casino? Do I go to a bar? And I stayed, and we lost. So the last Super Bowl, I actually took the Monday off. Guess what I don't do? I don't drink. So I don't even know. So I don't know why I didn't drink. I just didn't drink. And then we lost, and I took Monday off for no freaking reason. So I blame that on me as well. I got to take accountability on that. So I need everybody to get in there, like game head this week. They got all their superstitions. You should take a shower at halftime, or if you're at home, go watch it at somewhere else. If we're losing, you got to close the door or lock the door 2-3 times till it feels right. All the superstitions. You got to put 2 hats on, get a rally cap or something. Whatever we got to do, we got to get this win because Cardinals. If Seattle beats the Cardinals, they play Minnesota next week. So I mean, you know what I mean. We still got a pretty decent chance, but we have to win this week.
Well, that's the thing is we have to take care of our business no matter who's on the field here. I was saying in conversations with a couple of people that I think we need to win 5 more games to have a legitimate shot at the playoffs. We have to beat the Packers because just having that tiebreaker would be nice. We already lost the tiebreaker to the Vikings. So, that could come back to haunt us.
And I heard you guys were talking about the Salah. And I know he hasn't been in there a few years. And I know there's already the LaFleur thing, but it kind of seems like 2-on-1. But look at the losses this year. We lost to the Rams, right? Who is their backup quarterback?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Somebody that might know a little bit about our I don't know how much our playbook changes that much year to year. Doesn't seem like a whole lot. I know the routes change. The routes change from play to play, and you can see it weekly. And then we lost to the Vikings. Who the Vikings have?
Sam Darnold.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Now they asked for Lance's advice, and they told Lance, the Cowboys told Lance, we play them enough, we don't need your input, and now we see why, But that does make a difference. So I think Salah will make a difference in this game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Chad Schrader, his cousin, that they won the high school championship for their second straight. Well, their second. I don't know if it's straight. Shout out to Chad's cousin. I wish we could do that.
Johnny Dell, he's got a copy of the Shanahan playbook, and it's a couple years outdated, but it's not that far out. And the plays, they change a little bit, but it's the same playbook, and he can tell you. Shout out to Johnny Dell. Check out his football channel if you get a chance, Football Academy. But yeah, the playbook it's not every year they're changing, ripping out a bunch of pages and stuff like that. When the plays work, and it's about execution. Even if the defense knows what exactly you're running, if you block and you run faster and the quarterback throws the ball the right way, you can't get beat. But sometimes other players they make moves, and they get lucky, right? You got to make a play. So this is interesting to hear what you're saying about the field goal. How was it illegal?
Well, I know it's illegal because Pat McAfee, he's a specialist, and you're not supposed to be able to line up over the center and touch the center. And that's what happened. Like I couldn't see the game because I had Denver, Miami at my house, so I had to watch the stupid little ESPN thing, and I got like $430 right on this for the survivor pool. and they're losing, and then I see 60-yard bomb, and then you know, and then they come out. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna lose because there's like 9 of us in this pool, but there's been 9 of us for like a month, and nobody's got lost in over a month. So I'm like hopeful for a bunch of upsets, and I'm like, no, yeah, you can't, you know, you can't lie over the center and smash them, bulldoze them, and stuff like that, and nobody's making a big deal out of it because they didn't call it. Just like, you know, both the times we played Seattle, you know, one way they don't have the prime angle, and then this time, you know, 2 timeouts is cool. Maybe they'll let us kick 2 field goals in a row. I don't know.
The 2 timeouts did do something that was a little weird. Even the announcers said it's like they had 2 timeouts, and then the refs were like, "Oh no, we didn't wind the clock," or you know, it was a big excuse. It was really a big excuse. Yeah. But blocking the center, that's they were doing that a couple years ago, where there was actually a player who was jumping over the center, and I know they made that illegal as well. So you can't like jump over a player or jump on a player and then jump over a player. I know that's true too. So, yeah, we'll just have to see.
You can't climb someone's back pretty much and you know, have them use the help.
Yeah.
Right.
Use them as a step stool.
So that's why I feel good about this game, because they barely won against the Bears. Granted, it's a division game, but also their cornerback and linebacker are out. So that's, you know, that, I mean, we're probably not going to be throwing it a bunch as far as the cornerback being out, but I think this is I know we're pass first mostly. I think this will be a heavy run game. I thought that one Purdy was going to play just because of the cold. So let's do what we used to do.
Well, you know, we have 3 running backs. Like back in 2019, we used Mostert. We had Matt Breida and Tevin Coleman. We had those 3, right? Yep. Now we have CMC, we have Mason, and we have Garendo, and we're, you know, our head coach Shanahan is still trying to pass the ball around like we have a, you know, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and John Taylor out there. You know, Brock Purdy, he's only in his 3rd year, you know, and a lot of times, like some quarterbacks, if they're really good, they get going their 2nd year, 3rd year, right? Like Josh Allen, it took him till his 3rd year to actually get it and start to do something. You know, Tom Brady, the Patriots did not ask him to carry them to beat teams because they had that defense. They had the running game. You know, he just had to come in, make some throws every now and again, play some football. His first 4 seasons. Then in his 5th season, that's when he became that guy. You know, and you know, he started throwing the ball around. So Brock Purdy is only in his 3rd season. You know, he's gonna get better. Will he become that guy that can carry the team? I don't know. You know, that's still yet to be seen. I think he can.
I think so.
I don't know if he gets better. If he injured his shoulder, and we might be looking at not paying him now. We might be looking at moving forward. You gotta be healthy, and if you're hurt before your contract happens, that's gonna stall. And if Allen comes in and starts winning games for the 49ers, they're gonna look at Purdy and think maybe we don't have to pay him. And if Dobbs comes in and Dobbs starts moving around a little bit, and he's better than Allen or better than Purdy, then they're going to look and they're going to say, hey, we might be able to save a little bit more money and not have to pay Purdy right away. There was a thought thrown out there a couple of days ago because the New York Giants let their quarterback go, Danny Dimes. I don't want to bring Danny Dimes in. I don't want to bring him in, but is he better, right? Is he better than the 3 quarterbacks we have? I don't know. But he wasn't good in New York, and I know we spooked him, but, you know, look what everybody said about Sam Darnold. We brought Sam Darnold in, and look what he's doing now in Minnesota. So is that something that we might do this year or next year?
I would rather have Trey back.
Keep in mind, they have not put Purdy on IR, so we don't know how serious his shoulder injury is. If it was serious, they would put him on IR, right?
Well, they did have him go under an MRI. And they believe, but they're not coming out and saying it right now, but they're pretty confident that he doesn't need surgery. But to have to go in that far, there's something up there in his shoulder that's messed up. And if it is,
hey, remember Bryant, this one guy who had a catastrophic shoulder injury that we didn't sign we drafted Alex Smith, and we didn't sign Drew Brees. You remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
Because of his shoulder injury. That's why,
But with Alex Smith, though, too, it was like his first game or second game, he injured his shoulder, and that stunted him. And then that's why we had to have everybody else.
That was Julian Peterson. Julian Peterson freaking came in and literally slammed him down with his shoulder open. It was Julian Peterson being pissed off at the Niners for making him play on the tag.
We made him play. We made him play Alex, and he ended up hurting his shoulder worse and worse. We probably ruined Alex's career because of that. But we kept him around, and you see what happened after that. So I don't know.
When Alex Smith says, "I'm the head of the mid club," or whatever it was he said, and he said Brock Purdy's now not allowed in, I believe him. You guys remember that?
I didn't hear about that.
It wasn't mid club. I forget what it's called, but he called it the game managers or something. And Alex Smith said, "Hey, being the head game manager, he's not allowed in." But honestly, look at the whole season, because I like watch all the football games, not just the Niners, and everybody's having a down year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 15 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I mean, Geno Smith was leading the league most of the, maybe still. Sam Darnold's like taking off. Jared Goff's like all of a sudden, I don't know, but like, there's only like maybe Josh Allen. Maybe you could say Burrow now that most of his receivers are back. Lamar Jackson, and maybe like a fourth. I mean, everybody on the quarterbacks this year have just not been playing well as a collective.
That's true. I mean, when it comes to us, if you think about it, since 2021, we're in the NFC Championship game at least every year. We've played this team has played a lot of football. No, it's not the same 53 every year. We do change players here and there, but the core of this team has played a lot of football and since 2021. Could they be wearing down? Could they need an off-season off?
And also there's a 17th game now.
That's true. They added another game on top of all that.
I see these little.
When did they do that? Was it 2021 or 2022?
I think this is the third year. But it's like, and I've seen people clowning these content casuals last couple of weeks about rest days. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal. It's like, are you kidding me? That's totally a big deal before the season starts. Everybody looks at that. Like, this is our second year with the worst amount of rest differential after going to all these, deep in the playoff runs or the Super Bowl, getting the least amount of rest out of everybody. And then you play in the 4 best teams off of 4 buys, like two years in a row. Rest differential is a huge thing. Like, I'm only in my 40s, and like I hurt my leg or do something, and I'm like 3 days later still hurt. These guys are playing football, and you think like, 3 games in 11 days isn't a big deal. It's a huge deal.
So how do we fix it?
Spongy, that ain't bad for a running back.
So how do we fix it? And I've just been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks. Baseball doesn't seem to do it, and basketball doesn't seem to do it, where like a team takes off a bye week. Don't they have what's called like the All-Star break, where all the teams are off?
No, we have that at the end of the year for some reason.
Oh, that's what I'm getting at. Why can't the league make it fairer, where like in the middle of the league, the middle of the season, we all take a break? Or is that going to be too much money that the NFL is going to lose because there's going to be 1 week that they're not playing football games? I think if they made it to week 9 or something like that, and all the teams took a bye, then everybody can like heal up or plan for it. Nobody's going to be at a disadvantage, or too many rest days or too many teams coming off a bye. Because if you have one team like us who seem to be catching all these teams coming off byes every year, that doesn't seem to be very fair. That's like you're giving that team that you're, going up against the Niners an extra week off to prepare, an extra week off to get healthy and everything. So if you just made everybody take the same week off, maybe make it, I don't know, make it 9 and put 18 games in there. They want 18 games. Well, then, do that. And I just don't see it I don't see there's really being any other solution except making everybody take the same week off.
That would work, except for when there's a London team, because then that London team would be traveling.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that they would have to account for. Is like, okay, the London games or the Europe games, because I think they want to get a Japan game here soon too. We've seen the Mexico game. They're going to have to account for somehow, like saying, okay, this is going to be the middle of the season or something like that. And, but to have them here and there and spread out all over, I don't know. It's not NFL world. I thought it was the United States, but they are expanding and we can't stop that.
Yeah, everybody with the same bye week would be, well, that would suck as fans too. But
it wouldn't because that week everybody could take a break off, and they could have a big sports show or something like that, where they could, break down the whole season or something like that. Or maybe they could make some kind of, channel where you could watch any game that you wanted to watch that you haven't got to see. Or they could do something fancy with Red Zone where they could show all the touchdowns real quick or something. I don't know. I just think, something's going to have to give. Either the fans are going to have to take a break or, we're going to see players keep breaking things. And at this point, if we're paying millions of dollars for, players, I don't want to see a player on the bench for the whole season because he didn't get the right rest. It's almost like we're not getting what we're paying for. You're paying to see George Kittle out there, not, the backup. You're paying to see Brock Purdy, not Allen.
at least we don't have rest days like the NBA. That would piss me off if I went to a game and then somebody decided to sit.
Oh, I got the game today. I got 49ers at Packers. Got Cowboys at the Commanders. Who wants to see that? Who wants to see the Cowboys get destroyed? And of course, the 2:00 game. Can you guess? It's a local game for me. Can you guess?
Colorado. Colorado rerun.
Broncos at the Raiders.
Yep.
Raiders don't have their first two starting running backs. That should be fun. I got my 9-game parlay in. I broke my rule and went to a 9-game parlay just for the heck of it.
You did?
Yeah, I usually don't go that many, but screw it. I haven't bet a lot this year.
Yeah, my freaking remote's mighty slow this morning. It's like Kyle Shanahan and his play calling.
All right, Dave, what's your keys to victory today? What do we got to do to come out of Green Bay with a win?
Run the living bejesus out of the ball.
Who's running it?
CMC, Jordan Mason. You know how Kyle don't have faith in rookies. I would love to see Garendo out there because if that guy breaks one, he could take it to the house. He is so fast. I actually want, like weeks ago on Niners Coast to Coast, me and Ty Austin were talking about why not, Juice. Yeah. He's a decent tight end. He's a decent blocker, but why not, since we're kind of, thinner at wide receiver at this point and not having Ayuk, why not play two running backs? Why not put Garendo and CMC out there and split one of them in the slot? Like Garendo, put him in the slot since he's the rookie and he's not, going to be better than CMC at protecting the quarterback, and have him run a go route.
Well, if you were to run it, there would be no lead blocker, and that's kind of what Kyle Shanahan's whole run strategy is having a lead blocker. Unless you were going to pass.
It's just right now we have our weapons-wise, we have 3 running backs, and he had CMC carry the ball 19 times this last game. This game I could see us rushing the ball 40 times and, JP Mason getting 10 to 12 and maybe Garendo gets 3 or 4, and CMC gets the rest. Right. But
maybe in a blowout,
we'll see how it works out. It's just speculation until it happens. We'll see how it works out.
How do you foresee the game? How do we win today, Steve-O?
I think we're going to go back to the ground and pound just because the cold. I have CNC on my fantasy, so let me get that guy 32 touches, because I've been being beat up all week on that. But, and then also Mason, nobody heard of a subflexor until Ricky Pearsall had it, and then I think he had the same thing, and that took him out at least 3 weeks. So maybe that's why he hasn't been playing a whole lot, because he tried to come back in that game, couldn't. Then they only used him like 1 or 2 plays, the last couple of weeks. So even Shohei Ohtani had the same thing in the World Series. Like nobody heard of it now, like we're seeing it everywhere, and that's usually at least 3-4 weeks. He didn't even finish the World Series, so I expect he'll get like 5 carries. I'm expecting Kittle will have 2 touchdowns, but I think my player of the game, you're never going to guess. Is he on defense? Nobody likes him, but it's going to be Campbell. This is his revenge game, too. This is his revenge game.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so my thoughts is we're coming out, we're passing the ball. We are going to exploit this defense of Green Bay's, and Brandon Allen. There's not a lot of tape on him. There's old tape on him, so you don't really know what he's going to do in this offense. Shanahan's going to have him throwing the ball, quick slants, quick passes. We're going to get the ball out to the playmakers. Somebody like Devo will have to step up. If they don't step up, they're going to move. They're going to move from him. They'll go to Kittle. They're going to go to Juwan. They're going to keep this ball moving. I don't see Mason coming in and getting a bunch of touches because the last couple of games he hasn't. I feel his shoulder injury is still a problem. I think that's the reason he only got 2 carries the other game. I don't feel like CMC's back completely, so I feel like he's going to be, not a scapegoat, but he's going to be a distraction. He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to, they're going to give him the ball, but they're not. So I feel like we're going to be faking it a lot. If CMC does get the ball, I don't see him having a big game. I don't think he's had over 100 yards since he's been back or at all this season. I think he had 68 yards last game. I see him better as a passer, pass catcher at this point in his career. Maybe next season he'll get healthy again. But if we do put Garindo in there, I like what David said. Big home run hitter. We can see that happening. But they gotta set up that. And I'd like to see them get back to the play action pass. But since we haven't had really a consistent run game in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how they're going to do that without playing somebody like Garindo. Because I still feel like Mason, again, I think he still has a shoulder injury. And if you've ever had a shoulder injury and you're trying to run the ball, somebody hits your arm or you go down and fall on it yourself, you don't want to, and it's going to be cold in Green Bay. So that ground's is more of a rock. So I'd like to see Allen come out and light it up.
One more thing I think is going to happen. I know everybody gives Debo a hard time because of the sweeps and everything, but part of that is to make the linebackers go east and west. And I think part of that also Kyle usually puts in place for the next week. So I think they're going to do a verse with Jennings, and Jennings is going to have a pass this game.
All right.
They're going to pass off.
Who's he throwing it to? Pearsall?
No idea.
Kittle.
Who knows who's even going to be on the field at that point? Ronnie Bell. I don't know.
I heard that. If you didn't hear the bell, I heard it, and I believe in Ronnie Bell. I think he just he got the wrong jersey number to start his career with, and we'll just it's something about that number 10. You got to get that number 10. We need to not retire it. We just need to kind of scratch it off the board and save it for a couple of years. Let somebody else come in and be number 10.
Hey, he helped us in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be a good special teams player. His dad is a coach. His dad helped him out, and a former player. He's got the pedigree. He just has to put it together. So, I'm looking forward to it. And is Conley, David, did you get the injury report?
I was actually looking at because there was a rumor that Josh Jacobs is out, but everything points to the fact that he's playing.
He's playing. He had a quad, but he's not even on the injury report anymore. They said he's good to go. So, but still, that could linger. A quad that was hurt during the week. Because look, their linebacker wasn't even on that. Their linebacker was on the injury report. Now he's out. So it could affect him in the game. A little cheap shot.
Linebacker and their best corner's out, but it's not like. Hopefully, Brendan Allen can get the ball out fast. So out. Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Charvarius Ward. Which he's back at practice. I just think they're getting him back in, football shape. Maybe he had too many Krispy Kremes while he was out or something. Wide receiver Jacob Cowing and Kevin Givens hasn't played in a while. Why didn't they just put him on IR? I mean, he's missed 4 games at this point, I think. Yeah, he has. He's missed 4 games. That's kind of interesting.
We got to stop that run.
It doesn't
we
make
have to stop that run.
It doesn't make any sense when you put a kicker on IR, and I'm not talking about Jake Moody, but you put a kicker on IR, but you don't put a wide receiver on IR. You can get a kicker any day of the week.
Defensive tackle, but
we probably don't have any more IRs.
Alexander and Edgarin Cooper. That's the linebacker. They're both out.
It's been one of those seasons when you're kicker and punter on IR. When does that ever happen? Does that ever happen? A kicker and a punter on IR?
Is this the last season of the Aussie? I don't know. I know they tried to get a competition for him this year. They were going to bring in that other punter, and he was doing pretty good. In hindsight, I think we might have. We should have probably went with him.
And I think he's still on the market.
I think he went to the Ty will know. Ty knows him personally. He would know exactly where he went. I think he went to another team though.
Because I looked 2 weeks ago and I couldn't find him. Last it showed was he was on our practice squad.
Oh wow!
But I mean, I know Mitch was hurt at the beginning of the season, so I think that's why a couple of the, he wasn't doing as well. But I don't know. I liked that Harvin kid though. I mean, I don't know. I thought we were going to bring him back. I'd take him.
Yeah, because we didn't bring him in. We got that other kicker. The I don't like to go. You're black, you're white, you're born what you are. But we were trying the black punter earlier in the season, and then we signed the white punter just recently. And I don't know. They say he's a pretty good placeholder, and we did see Jake Moody, not really have any issues with him holding the ball when he was kicking. So that's good. But I don't know, guys. I'm looking forward to a victory, David. I think we're gonna win. I don't know how exactly we're gonna do it, but I believe it's gonna happen.
By a Moody field goal in the frozen tundra.
Oh boy, let's do it.
There's Kenny. Uh-oh.
Let's bring it out. Let's go, Moody.
This isn't Steve-O, fake Steve-O. No, he's got the beard, bro. So it's like Steve-O. It really is.
It's like 30 degrees, man. I'm freezing, dude. I can't do it. My dad's want me to go back to Wisconsin, and I'm like, yeah, but that cold and that 2 hours to wait till the game comes on. I wake up 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? I got to wait another 2 more hours. I don't know if I can do it.
Well, what I got to say is Crazy Juice, it is a crappy season, but it's not a crappy season because it's one game at a time. If we get into that playoff race, we're in the dance. Look what happened in 2022. We win every year. If we get into the playoffs, we can make it to the championship game. We just got to win it. And that's
the Rams are
not happening, Sponge.
The Rams are losing this week too. They play Philly. They're going to lose. So we just need Seattle win.
I'm honestly hoping they do, but at the same time, for the sake of Spongy talking his crap, I hope the Rams beat them.
Oh yeah. What if Jimmy Garoppolo has to play against him? Look out.
Vontae Smith isn't in that game though.
But all right, guys. Well, these guys have started.
Jake Moody walk off.
Jake Moody walk off. He's gonna lock in, folks.
Where's he yelling? Money Moody.
I see him do the gritty off the field.
He's gonna lock in. We're gonna walk off in Green Bay. As Corey Davis says, it's go Niners and F all 31 other teams. Cheeseheads, we're popping you in the microwave and we're hitting high. All right.